Carl, good to see you, brother. How you doing? How you been? How you been, bro? Tall, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Is the market going to recover in the next week, or are we facing a bloody week? The market should recover starting Monday, slowly. If Bitcoin's bottomed out, it's going to recover. The manipulation will only continue if the corporations get involved in the dumping sector. Since the corporations haven't got involved in the dumping sector so far that much, it should end very soon. We're not going to be seeing, I mean, there are, to essentially put it in perspective, I saw videos and some analysts coming out and saying that the market's going to go down to, there are people that are predicting that the market's going to go down to 30,000, which in my eyes, not possible at all. And I said this a very long time ago. So the same people a long time ago inside the crypto space that said Bitcoin is going to go down to 30,000, or the exact same people coming out of the woodworks once again and saying Bitcoin is going to go down to 30,000. It's going to drag the market with it downwards. But all of this is just absolute spewing lies and unnecessary panic inside the market space. In reality, we're going to be doing a recovery extremely soon on the upside. Are we going to be shooting up on the upside? No, but we're going to do a recovery on the upside. That's what I see it as. And only due to the amount of essentially the corporate sector coming in on a heavy-footed stance, especially after August, after the 7th of this month, we have Morgan Stanley, let's not forget, coming in slowly inside the market space with 15,000 financial advisors. I'm not saying, again, on the 7th, the market's going to shoot up, but slowly, we have Morgan Stanley coming in. We have BlackRock essentially talking about how they're seeing a recovery coming in as well. More corporates are coming in, high-profile executives are coming in, and so on from the institutional side. A lot of platforms are getting ready for institutions as well. And another thing to compare it to as well is the short and long field. So when there's too many traders betting on the market to go down, and there's a lot less essentially trading and shorting the market in other sense. So one side is weighing out the other side right now, and there's a lot of people putting essentially, in a simple term, a trade or bet down that the market's going to go downwards. There are too many people right now trying to short the market. So how that works is essentially the exchanges have to pay out those people, and there's a lot of people that are putting 20x, 15x, 50x, 100x, or so on, depending on what project they're chosen to short right now. So there are too many people shorting the market right now, and not many people longing the markets. And it gets to the stage where the exchanges have to pay out those people. If there's too many people heavy-footed on shorting the market on 50x, 100x, 150x, 200x, and so on, the exchanges will do a reversal, so they liquidate everyone and don't pay out. So there's a small amount of people putting long on the market and a huge amount of people putting shorts on the market. And those people will get liquidated because the exchanges are not paying out 50% X or 20Xs or 150Xs on leverages. They're not paying out to anybody inside a crypto space like that. So the exchanges will be the one to pull the reversal, because there is no way in hell that they're going to be paying out essentially that much in profits to these traders, to these crypto traders, because it just goes back to that old saying, the house always wins. It's just how it works. So too many people are pulling shorts, which is not good, and which means those people will get liquidated, and a small group of people are only putting, compared to the shorts, a long on the market, and those people will be in the upside. The people that are trying to short the market, there's too many futures traders going on right now where too many people are shorting the market. The exchanges are not going to be paying out those X leverages of 20x, 50x, 100x, and so on. So one, we have to look at the money coming in, the money going out. Too many people are shorting the market. The exchanges won't pay out. It's going to be too difficult for them. And two, The next individuals essentially coming inside the crypto space are institutional investors. So whilst the panic is going on from the retail section, it's actually opening up space for the next set of clients to be entering the crypto space with institutions, which is what's going on right now is just pure manipulation. We're not going to be seeing extreme lows in any sort of a way. We are going to be seeing some lows, and then we're going to essentially do a recovery and go back up, because exchanges are not going to be paying out those extensive amounts of X leverages. So you got to look at the charts on essentially the flow of money coming in, which is the most important part. It's something that I said a very long time ago as well. In 2023 also, at the beginning of this year as well, I mentioned, look at essentially the exchanges, the house has to always win. So when there's too many people putting on one end, too much positions are open on one end, the other end will always win because one end has to get liquidated. So now we won't be seeing a incredibly bad situation. Hey, Miles and family, Cometus, good to see you. How you doing? Messi, good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Professor Miles and the very patient XRP community. Let's go, Frankie, brother. How you doing? Hi, Miles and all CMF. JP, good to see you. How you doing? Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? Hi, Miles, CMF. George, good to see you. How you doing? Ian, evening, Miles and family. How you doing? I'm doing great. How you doing, Ian? How you been? Pablo, good to see you. How you doing? I hate grayscale. I hate grayscale. Yes, nobody's a big favor of grayscale in any sort of a way. Evening, Miles of CMF. Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing? Is this a black swan event? Hell no. This is not what you call a black swan event. Again, there are still a lot of people predicting that we're going to go into a 1929 depression, which is not going to happen. We're going into elections. That's never going to happen. But some people are predicting a 2008 crash if the Feds come out with a 50 basis points. We could be seeing that, but again, that's not going to happen. You can consider as an outcome, if you wanted to, that the Feds would come out on a 50 basis points. But I feel like the Fed's going to come out and do a recovery and do a reversal inside the market space. But all of this is just opening up position. You've always got to look of why they're making you look to one side when there's something major going on the other side, which is the institutions coming inside the field right now. Pablo, good to see you as well. How you doing? I hate Grayson. Manny, good to see you as well. Will Iran and Israel attack cause downward pressure? Leroy, good to see you. How you doing? And good question. Will Iran essentially and Israel have more conflicts on the way and essentially start a war with each other? No. Iran does not. The Iranian government is, the Iranian government might show that they're essentially not afraid of anybody, and the Iranian government is strong and they can do anything they want. They won't. Okay, the Iranian government will never start an actual war with Israel because the Iranian government is scared. The Iranian government is genuinely scared, and I'm Iranian, so I'm Iranian. This is coming from an Iranian perspective, and I see Iranian news as well. And the Iranian government is genuinely scared. The supreme leader of Iran was doing a prayer on the recent death that happened, and he was looking up just in case there was an airstrike on him. That's how much fear they have. This is the supreme leader of Iran, the man that everybody's supposed to fear. And when he was, making a speech, he was looking up just in case he was next for an airstrike. The Iranian government is scared. They're not going to be starting any sort of wars. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Freedom, good to see you as well. How you doing? The amount of BS is going on around this past 24 hours is ridiculous. Facts. Hi, Miles. G, good to see you as well. How you doing? Freedom Forever, good to see you as well. How you doing? So, yeah, Leroy, no war at all. There's zero chance of a war. Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? Mary Lynch is coming with 17,000 brokers. Let's go, Mary Lynch. Happy Pisces. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. Joe, how you doing? It's so sickening to know how manipulated this market is. Yeah, it definitely is. Hit the like. Let's go, Messi. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Queen, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever on this live show, we talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDC, AI, politics, and regulations, things that you should know about when we're going into a digital world. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and what advice is only for entertainment purposes. Now, I'm going to give you a gist of what we're going to be going for on tonight's live show. By that time, everyone's probably tuned in for the first part. So, on tonight's live show, we are going to be talking about Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox is essentially the exchange that's refunding people they've actually got to a stage where the refunding is coming to an end. So regarding their refunding of $2 billion essentially dollars that's going to be refunded and worth of Bitcoin has come to slowly an ending, which is great to see. So no more selling pressure from that situation. Now, Galaxy Research also essentially sounded some alarms that we're going to go through on tonight's live show as well. Galaxy Research came out with their new report on Bitcoin's essentially layer 2 rollout solutions, things that are being built upon Bitcoin. We're going to go through their perspectives. Their perspectives have changed, interesting enough. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding Algorand, and something that we don't cover much. And the last time we covered Algorand was when they partnered with some Austrian bank to create some sort of stablecoin. Now, Algorand's Pera wallet has just partnered with MasterCard for seamless instant crypto transactions. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about Genesis. Now, Genesis is another crypto brokerage firm that not many people talk about. Actually, I've never seen anybody inside the crypto space cover news on Genesis, and they should, because Genesis is also going through some distribution of cryptocurrencies, and they're refunding roughly about $3 billion to $4 billion due to, and it's a huge amount of cryptocurrencies they're also refunding as well. We're going to go through that on tonight's live show as well. Now, I covered Genesis for quite a while on their court settlements and essentially their chapter 11 bankruptcy and so on, and then I covered the part where they're going to start refunding people, but now we actually have the numbers. So I said Genesis hasn't declared. The last time I read the Genesis news to everybody, I said Genesis hasn't still declared how much Bitcoin they're going to be refunding, or how much Ethereum, or how much in general cryptocurrencies, and how much cash they're going to be refunding, because we are talking about billions here that could definitely impact the market either way. If it's cash, it's positive. I said if it's crypto, it could play out both ways, negative and positive. So I actually have the numbers of what cryptocurrencies they're going to be refunding and how much cash they're going to be refunding. So we're going to cover that on tonight's live show as well. We're talking about billions here as well, and we're also going to be talking about the UAE on tonight's live show as well. The United Arab Emirates has just rolled out the Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center, which is going to be teaching everybody about blockchain education. It's going to be staying there for, it's not like a seminar where it comes and goes. It's actually going to be staying there forever. It's a blockchain center. And we're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Argentina. Argentina has introduced one of the most interesting concepts to use AI. And they're going to be using, so Argentina is set to adapt AI to prevent future crimes aimed security concerns. So Argentina's police force and government are going to be using artificial intelligence to prevent crime before it happens. They're going to be predicting the future, is what Argentina is going to be doing with AI technology. And we're also going to be talking about BlackRock on tonight's live show as well, how much money they've paid out so far in dividends regarding their real-world asset tokenization fund, and how many people have got involved so far. We're also going to be talking about Thailand on tonight's live show as well. Now, a long time ago, I revealed on this live show that Thailand's government's Thai party said if you vote for the Thai party, you get free money. But there's no such thing as free money, because people are going to get paid out in CBDC. So Thailand's government, and I shared the news also that Thailand's government is going to be paying people in CBDCs, and they announced that it's going to be happening now. And now we have a update on the Thai CBDC of what happened exactly. It actually released today. And I'm going to explain to you what exactly happened, and that everybody's basically getting 10,000 baht of Thai currency, which is about $282 in CBDCs that has an expiry date of 6 months, and you can only use it 4 kilometers away from your house. So we're going to go through that because it was actually released, and I'm going to share with you how smoothly it went. But we're also going to be talking about Saudi Arabia on tonight's live show as well. So we're talking about UAE, Thailand, and now Saudi Arabia. We're also going to go through as well. So Saudi Arabia has came out and essentially said that Web3 is more important than oil. Now, Web3 is just another category in data, because essentially with data and Web3 is essentially how you go. But Saudi Arabia has come out and essentially said that Web3 and data are more important than oil. And this is Saudi Arabia. Something that I said a very, very long time ago, that data is going to be more important than oil in the future. Anybody remember me saying that in 2023, that data is going to be more important than oil? And also yesterday, I was sharing the news that people were selling their data for $40 vouchers from WorldCoin. And Saudi Arabia come out today and mentioned that it's more important than oil in the future. It's coming from an oil country, by the way. top oil country. Now, the next news we're also going to be covering on tonight's live show is going to be regarding the Fed, essentially, on hard landings after the latest employment reports that have came out and expert opinions, including former Fed governors. So we're going to go through a lot of perspectives on tonight's live shows regarding Fed reports, and are we going to have rate cuts happening somewhere down the road? Are we going to be going through some mysterious, essentially massive 2008 crisis type of situation? Now, before we go through any of that news, the first news we're going to be covering on tonight's live show is regarding MT Gox and their repayment plans. It's actually coming to an end, which is finally. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. Let's see where we were. We were here. Orphan, good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Miles. CMF, Coin, let's go. Pure, let's go. Evening, how you doing? Will the current administration who's opposed to crypto and Trump rein on his Bitcoin and crypto advocacy by dumping the 200,000 Bitcoin US owns? Will the current, that's a good question actually, right? And will the current administration who is opposed to crypto and Trump rein his Bitcoin and crypto advocacies by dumping the 200,000 Bitcoin US owns? Okay, Leroy, great question. Will the US government essentially dump the amount of Bitcoin they have, maybe out of spite on what essentially Donald Trump said is what you're referring to? So Donald Trump mentioning that Bitcoin should be used as a reserve asset, and his entire campaign is getting Bitcoin votes and cryptocurrency future and blockchain future for the United States. Will the US government or the Biden administration, out of spite, make the US drop their $200,000 individual Bitcoins on the market space? I don't think they would, not even out of spite, because that would damage essentially BlackRock's portfolio regarding their Bitcoin ETF. BlackRock is the #1 Bitcoin ETF holder inside the United States. So if the US government drops 200,000 individual Bitcoins on the market just out of spite because Donald Trump is supporting Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, that would damage the portfolio of BlackRock, Fidelity, JP Morgan as actually clients do hold Bitcoin with JP Morgan. So it will essentially, even Vanguard is a majority holder in Bitcoin mining institutions as well. So not only is America leading in Bitcoin ETFs, major corporations are holding massive portfolios, but they're also leading in Bitcoin mining power as well. So that would damage on that side as well. And then there's, shareholders that will get damaged. So too much damage will occur, and essentially humongous corporations will go into massive losses. And I don't think that essentially they would let that happen in any sort of way. I don't think they'll let that happen. I don't think BlackRock would let that happen in any sort of a way either. So no, not even out of spite. I don't think they have the kahunas to do that move. I think they will create such a feel that the war is around the corner, and then create this reset is going to be so close, so it might be even some kind of an exchange of stacked mile. Yes, I agree with Happy Pisces that they are definitely, there's a massive situation going on in the world right now where they're creating massive panic, not just from the market perspective, but also on the other perspective. So I'll give you an idea. On one side of the spectrum, you have the people that are inside the market space. So the middle, upper class, and so on and so on. People inside the market space are right now distracted of, are we going to go into a 2008 collapse or a Great Depression? So they have this set of group of people distracted by, are we going to go into a 2008 depression type of situation? And in reality, we're not. And then they have you also distracted by, we're going to go into World War III again, which we're not. They also have you distracted by making people turn on each other, which is also a big mistake. So there's massive things happening right now in the world where they're making people turn against each other, where they're distracting you with the idea of World War III. They're also distracting you of an idea of we're going to go into a huge 2008 crisis, depression, or 1929 depression. And in reality, we're going into elections, so which means we can't go into a depression if we're going to go into an election year, because it will make the Biden administration look bad. So the idea of going into a massive depression is false, because They can make it look like we're going to a depression, but we're not going to in reality, because we're going into elections, which means the Biden administration looks bad, and that makes no sense. On why would they make their own administration look bad during election time? So the idea of going to a massive depression is false, but they're distracting you with it. The idea that we're going to go into a World War III, and they're distracting you with, we're going to go into World War III because Iran is going to start World War III, is also false. Iran will never start World War III. Also, the other one that's going on as a massive distraction is they're using essentially religion purposes or skin color purposes to make people turn on each other to distract them as well. So there's three massive distractions going on right now in the world. And there are major things happening behind the scenes in terms of CBDCs, in terms of control, in terms of, there's a lot of things happening that people are being distracted by absolute nonsense. So people need to wake up and realize what's actually happening around them. That with the people turning on each other right now, so there's multiple groups of people turning on each other because of their skin color or their religion, which is absolute nonsense. At the end of the day, we're all human, and at the end of the day, we all believe in one God. Full stop. No matter what your religion is, the end result is God. The second thing is, regarding people fighting over their skin color and so on, is absolute nonsense as well. That's just a massive distraction, because with that, they're just going to bring control. In 2023, I said that they're going to be essentially, they're going to get people distracted with each other, so that, because people were talking about martial law. If you remember in 2023, people were very, very angry. They were turning each other easily and so on. And they were mentioning that they're going to bring martial law and so on. And I said, no, they're not going to bring martial law and so on. But I said they're trying to create so much panic and fear and anger in the world that it will be easier for them to essentially implement a social credit system, because they're going to create so much anger and fear in the world that the people, and I said this in 2023, I said that some people are going to turn and say to the government, we need control. People are out of control and we need control. And I said the government is going to go, no problem. We will introduce social credit systems. Everybody's fixed, because, if you go out of line, then this will happen and that will happen. So, and I said all these things are going to be happening in 2023. I said they're going to be planning all these things. And I said they're going to cause, essentially it goes back to the oldest saying, which is create a problem, introduce a solution. And I said they're going to be doing these things. So things that I've said back to back are pretty much in line of happening right now. Massive distractions. I've always said history will always repeat itself because people are forgetful. They're repeating the history of we're going into World War III once again, and people are again distracted. They're creating essentially the illusion we're going to go into a massive, essentially massive depression of 2008 crisis, and in reality we're not, because we're going to elections. And then they have people turning in each other because they're also getting distracted as well. Those types of groups of people, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I said all of these things a very long time ago, that, they're going to bring so much fear and anger into normal, ordinary people, that the other people that aren't involved in these random protests that are happening are going to turn around to the government and say, we need control. And the government's going to go, no problem, social credit systems, we could, control everyone then. Which is what they want. They want people to turn on each other and be distracted. They want people to be distracted. That's the main goal. Because when you're distracted, you don't realize what's actually happening. So these are all the things that I've mentioned in 2023, going into 2024, possibilities of happening. And they're all happening. Because, why would they try to, why would governments introduce, for human control, they can use vaccines, or they can just get you to turn on each other. That's exactly what's going on right now. I think they will create such a fear that the war is around the corner, and then create this, reset it, is going to be so close, might even be some kind of an exchange of stock now. Yes. And these are all indications of how close we are to an actual reset, pretty much. These are all indications of how close we are to a full restart, basically. Trump will debate Harris on Fox News September 4th. I saw that. Does Tangent charge to transfer assets from one Tangent wallet to another Tangent wallet? No. But the asset itself will charge you fees on, depending on what it is. So if it's Ethereum, it's going to charge you in ETH. If it's Solana, it will charge you in Solana. If it's XRP, it will charge you. The chain itself will charge you on fees. Tangent won't. Even I was on crypto peeps. Semper, good to see you. How you do? Best Web3 tokens. Good. Best Web3 tokens. Ocean is great on that basis, but they've partnered with the super intelligence AI type of situation. But look, data projects are in general Web3 projects. One good project is hot. One other good project is AR. File as good as one on that basis. You have said it over a year. I've said it over a year. Yes, I have. I remember. Let's go, Pablo. Miles strikes again. You definitely said that, brother. Let's go, Ian. Yes. Let's go, Leroy. ICP is Web3 and they have big partnerships with UAE. That is true as well. But I've never had ICP in my portfolio, my top 10s or so on. But either way, it does have partnerships, which is all true. What you stated, Leroy, regarding ICP is all true facts. I agree with your analysis. Let's go, Leroy. Germany should have never sold their BTC. Germany only sold their BTC because they had no choice. They had absolutely no choice because Germany has a law where they're not allowed to keep a certain asset if it, on the basis of for it to grow value. So Germany has a law: if they seize a particular asset, the German government is not allowed to hold that asset for it to grow value, for them to make a profit from it. So that's why Germany sold their BTC. So they sold it within their own essentially legal obligations. Morning, Miles and family. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? Miles, you are always the calm during the storm. Shelly, thank you so much for the kind words. Let's go. Good to see you as well. They will print trillions. Yes, they will. Out of chaos comes order. The people demand it, Miles. Exactly. That's what's basically going on right now. Hi, Miles of CMF. It is time to turn on my CMF TV. Good to see you guys. How you doing? TMC, good to see you as well. Global transition takes time, but reset has been planned for decades. Facts. Let's go. Good evening, Miles and CMF. I hope you all have a great weekend. David, good to see you as well. How you doing? So, first news on tonight's live show is regarding MTGOX, because their repayments are finally coming to an end, which is good to see. So MTGOX they're very close to finishing its Bitcoin repayment plan after transferring $2 billion in BTC. After completing a large Bitcoin move with over $2 billion, MTGOX, a former Japanese Bitcoin exchange, is almost done with its repayment plan. As a part of MTGOX's plan to give back recovered Bitcoin to people who were touched by the 2014 hack, hundreds of thousands of BTC worth over $450 million was stolen. MTGOX has recovered about 141,686 individual Bitcoins since the hack, but recent big transfers have cut its holdings by 76.5% from what it recovered. Look On Chain, a different blockchain analysis tool, said that MTGOX has already sent out 47,229 Bitcoins, which is worth $3.13 billion to 3 unknown wallet addresses. Since July 5th, MTGOX has sent over 61,559 BTC, which is worth about $3.89 billion to Bitstamp, Kraken, Bitbank, and SBI VC Trade, among others. MTGOX is almost done with its Bitcoin payback efforts, as it has less than half of the money set aside to do so left. MTGOX's trustee, Nubuku, revealed that the exchange had paid back over 17,000 creditors in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash after early distributions on July 5th and 16th. The payments were made through official Bitcoin exchanges. The crypto market will be affected for a long time by the completion of the MTGOX repayment plans, which will set a standard for essentially how to handle similar cases in the future. Lessons learned from MTGOX's collapse make it clear how important it is to have a strong security measures, regulatory oversight, and open processes to protect users and investors. I agree 100%. But honestly, it's great to see that MTGOX's situation is coming to an end slowly. Their repayment plans, because that needs to get out of the way, so there's no more, sort of manipulation situation coming from MTGOX's refunded clients on selling their Bitcoins, because those individuals brought their Bitcoins in 2014 and they were hacked, and then now 2014 until now, fast forward, their Bitcoins have much more higher face value. So the faster they got essentially refunded quickly, the better it is for the crypto markets. Now, Galaxy Research has came out with a new report. Galaxy Research sounds alarms on Bitcoin's layer 2 rollup sustainability. Now, also to point out, Galaxy Galaxy Research changed their opinion as well. So as the broader crypto space warms up to Bitcoin layer 2 scaling networks, a notable warning has been sounded as to their long-term sustainability. As per a recent report published by Galaxy Research, rollups, despite being popular, may not live up to users' expectations as decentralized, cheap, and fast way for Bitcoin payments. So, Galaxy Research, just like any other crypto firm out there, a very, very long time ago suggested that Bitcoin is a great network to build upon. Now, and also when Galaxy Research's report came out the first time, I reviewed that report on this live show, something similar to that report on this live show, where there was mentioned that Bitcoin is a great network to build on, and they're creating the Lightning network on Bitcoin to make things faster and cheaper and so on. And I said Bitcoin is not good on that basis, but it's great for, essentially an asset to keep on the sidelines. Bitcoin is a good asset to just store value to keep on the sidelines. To build on Bitcoin is a bit of a ridiculous idea because it's slow and expensive. And there have been so many blockchain firms out there that have focused their time, efforts, and money trying to build something on Bitcoin to make it faster and cheaper, and every single one of them pretty much failed. And also, somebody that used to work for the Lightning Network, platform, essentially building the Lightning Network, the group of individuals left them because they said that they lied and that they don't believe that Bitcoin is going to get faster and cheaper in any sort of a way for the time being. Who knows in the future? But what's interesting is Galaxy Research, a very long time ago, did a report and said that Bitcoin is a great network to build on because it's cheap, fast, and so on. And now they've changed their report and said maybe it's a bad idea to build on Bitcoin. Again, something that I said a very long time ago. According to Parker, Galaxy's analyst, one critical challenge confronting Bitcoin's rollups has to do with the cost of posting data to the base layer. The report seems to counter the view held in 2023 by industry stakeholders. Eric Wall and Yudi, the economies of essentially Bitcoin rollups. Rollups by design function by compressing a large number of transactions into a single batch. It then posts a summarized version of the batch on the main blockchain. Now, for the Bitcoin rollups to thrive, considerable revenue should be generated from the transaction fees on their own network. As per Parker's explanation, the revenue needs to flow from the many users prepared to pay for transactions on the layer 2 network. Additionally, the blockchain acts as a data availability layer for Bitcoin rollups. This facilitates essentially the postings of sufficient data, which ensures that any Bitcoin node can essentially reconstruct the most recent state of the rollup networks. Meanwhile, the posting of data usage, given that Bitcoin blocks have a storage limit of 4 megabytes in terms of capacity, it essentially therefore means that each data posting uses up to 400 kilobytes of block space. This infers that 10% of the entire block gets occupied with such postings. Financial implications and completion. The danger here involves the likelihood that smaller transactions will get ignored as the base fee source, prompted by multiple rollups postings their data every 6 to 8 blocks. The research report maintains that rollups could, by this, engage in unhealthy competition in terms of revenue generation to secure their position on the block. As per Galaxy Research's estimate, rollups may rake up monthly expenses of $460,000 to maintain Bitcoin security. This will be essentially for low-fee environments where ordinary transactions cost 10 sats. Satoshis per essentially byte, a unit of block space data. However, in a high fee scenario, the monthly expenses could soar to a staggering $2.3 million if it is. So they're saying essentially that if we start building upon Bitcoin as how Bitcoin is right now, it's a terrible idea. And this comes from Galaxy Research, essentially a study paper, that it's a terrible idea to build on Bitcoin right now because we're just going to make Bitcoin even more slower and more expensive. Bitcoin needs, is what they're saying, is a lot of work to get to a stage where it's actually fast and cheap, and then we can build on Bitcoin, which is something I suggested a very long time ago because it's just basic common sense. Essentially, first, fix the network, make it cheaper, make it faster, make it so it doesn't, pile up on tons of transactions, and then build whatever you want on it. So, commenting on the Galaxy Research report, Alexia, the co-founder of Build on Bitcoin, noted that Bitcoin layer 2s will get ignored by the community should it cost get 100 times more expensive than Ethereum's layer 2s. They're saying that if we're going to continue building on essentially Bitcoin like this, it will get very expensive to operate Bitcoin in terms of transactions, and it's going to get so expensive that essentially we're comparing Bitcoin to Ethereum in terms of fees, which means that essentially people are going to start moving over from developers from Bitcoin will just move over and build on Ethereum because it already has a lot of capabilities. So what's the point of building on Bitcoin, in other words? And this is coming from the founder of the platform, Build on Bitcoin. So, he also remains optimistic that the cost will not essentially, stay relatively cheap. Now, however, he endorses using Celeste, for example, or a merge mined Bitcoin sidechain for a cheaper option than rather just straight away building on Bitcoin. The downside, though, is that it's not a guarantees Bitcoin's complete decentralization and security. Obviously not, because you're using Celeste. You're not using really technically just Bitcoin. So, again, something that I mentioned a very, very, very long time ago. It's a bad idea to build on Bitcoin as it stands right now. And until they can fix Bitcoin, genuinely, everybody thinks that Bitcoin is liquid gold and it has no essentially downside. Remember one thing in life. Everything has a downside and a positive. There's never anything that just has a positive. Everything, has a positive and a negative, and everything in life. So something that I said a very long time ago, they need to first fix Bitcoin, make it faster, make it cheaper, and then build whatever you want on it. But people decided to not work on fast and cheap and decided to just build, and then they realized, well, this might be too expensive. It's just common sense. Now, the next news to talk about on tonight's live show is Algorand. Algorand is something, a project that we rarely talk about on this live show, mainly because not much news spins around it. But Algorand's latest, the last news they had was essentially a bank that partnered with them for stablecoin purposes in the EU. And now Algorand's Para wallet has just partnered with MasterCard. So Algorand is also going in the transaction space on that basis for seamless and instant crypto transactions, what they're aiming for. But they've just partnered with MasterCard through their Para wallet, which is massive news for Algorand's basis. And Algorand did recently release essentially an advert. If anybody remembers, a very long time ago, Algorand released an advert and where their payments were cheaper than everybody else. And then Solana, there was an advert where it was in a like a Walmart type of situation, Target type of situation for all the Americans, just to get the reference. But essentially, it was people going to pay out the checkouts, and someone was using Solana, and the payment wasn't going through. Obviously, Solana, and then someone was using Bitcoin, but the payment was going to take 45 minutes to process. Someone was using Ethereum, but then his fees were like $150, and then they're using Algorand, and it was instant payments and so on. But they've just partnered with MasterCard, which is massive news on those bases. And before I tell you that news, let's go inside the comment section. Let's see where we were. We were Mike. Good day, Miles of CMF. Let's go. How you doing? Good evening, Miles of CMF. I hope you all have a great day. David, good to see you on. How you doing? We're here. Jim, good to see you on. How you doing? When can see real movement for crypto? Seems more bearish than bull. No, we're not technically that much of into a bearish mode. We're into a panic stage is what's going on, which is the worst thing to do inside of any sort of market space. But as many executives, high profile executives have put it, it's shopping time. Not even lying. Essentially Arthur Hayes comes out and he says that it's basically shopping time. Raoul Paul comes out, the economist, he comes out and says basically nothing new inside the crypto space. He doesn't see the panic mode that's going on for no apparent reason. A lot of platforms are getting ready for the next wave of clients to come in as institutional clients. So the upside is not that far off, is what I'm trying to suggest at all in any sort of a way. Hello, Miles and CMF. Sorry, Miles. I'm very sorry, Miles. Very late on tonight, but I will watch it again in the morning as normal. No problem, Adi. Let's go. Hello, Miles and CMF. Sorry, I arrived to class late. Glad to be here now. Let's go, Brian. How you doing? Zero Hedge posted BTC is crashing ahead of Japan Open. I don't understand. Okay, regarding the Japan situation, Japan's currency is going through some ups and down type of situation, and they're borrowing essentially US dollars. So the Japanese central bank is going to borrow US dollars from the United States, in other words, and then use that money to buy their US bonds and treasuries from their commercial and private banks. So it balances it out, and the Japanese yen is fixed, but then that just means the US dollar just goes up more, inflation type of situation. And so they're essentially referencing it as if Japan's essentially market crashes, then it's going to damage Bitcoin. And it would do up to a certain extent, but not to a large scale. Again, people are just taking things out of proportion and going into full panic mode for no apparent reason. The whole point of Bitcoin is to go against this whole inflation type of situation, or countries' currencies crashing. But for some oddly reason, Bitcoin's main purpose to, go against, inflation, to go against fiat currencies, is just backfires every single time a country goes through a crisis. Japan goes through a currency crisis and Bitcoin gets affected, which is supposed to be the other way around. Bitcoin is supposed to be the pro when it comes to fiat currencies or when it comes to inflation. But for some odd reason, it reacts the same way like any other stock market. And the reason why it does that is obviously because it's heavily manipulated, just like anything else on this planet. But that's what people are referring to. That if Japan's markets opens their doors and they're in a massive crisis and Japan's economy is not going to do too well, it's going to damage Bitcoin, because Japan's also a heavy buyer of Bitcoin in terms of their corporation sector. We also have a Japanese company by the name of Meta Planet that buys quite a bit of Bitcoin to back their company assets with, and they're following the exact same footsteps as MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor. Hello, Miles, the CMF. I hope that everyone had or is having a good day. Let's go, Scott. How you doing? I love and respect my family. Let's go, Scott. How you doing, Scott? How you been? Crypto space is just like going to the dollar store this weekend. Just go to the dollar store this weekend. Let's go, JP. How are your parents doing? How are you doing business? Very well. How you doing? Good to see you as well, Scott. My business very well. My family's doing very well as well. Thank you so much for asking, Scott. How you doing? I think we are moving into the utility phase of crypto. Use case and regulatory compliance will determine value. Speculation and Ponzi's will die. Facts. SBELBEY. Facts. We are actually going into utility phase. Do you know how we're going to utility phase? Because we have more corporations than ever before inside the crypto space, more banks than ever before, more regulations than ever before. Also, I tweeted about this about 6 months ago. 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I tweeted that essentially we're going to be brewing into stage 2. And I said stage 2, after this whole Bitcoin upside and Bitcoin going down and the market going down, we're going to go into stage 2, which is, I said, there's going to be more corporations, more banks, more ETFs, more of everything to do with the corporate sector. And it's because we're going into utility. I said part 2 is utility. I've been saying part 2 is utility for I don't know how long. And I said that more people should be focused on utility than ever before. I said too many people are focused on camel token where they should be focused on actual projects for utility purposes. And so people forget that they should stop treating crypto assets as stocks, because crypto has purpose, has a utility purpose. So yes, I agree with you 1,000,000% that we are going into utility phase. Yes, we are. I've been saying this for the longest time. We have more banks. I've been saying this. We have more banks, more corporates, and more regulations in place than ever before. These are all indications of utility. We are going into that stage. And also, we have more countries in essentially launching CBDCs than ever before as well. ISOs, yes. SB, facts. I think 4 months ago I tweeted that out, but the tweet is there anyways. But I've also been saying for a very long time. So that it's going to be happening this year. Now, Algorand. Algorand's Pera wallet partners with MasterCard for seamless and instant crypto transactions. In a positive development for the Algorand ecosystem, MasterCard is set to integrate with Pera wallet, enabling seamless on-chain transactions through a collaboration with Immersive. This announcement was made by the Algorand Foundation CTO John Allen Woods. Instant, essentially, with Algorand's technology, instant payments. John Allen Woods explained that Immersive, a startup known for issuing standard MasterCards, will soon allow users to make purchases with instant, essentially, payments using Pera Wallet. Immersive, which previously worked with Ethereum, faced challenges with high... basically, the company... So I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you, the company Immersive used to work with Ethereum. So Immersive is, a company that works with Mastercard. They produce Mastercard bank cards and so on. And they were first originally, they were working with Ethereum. And the reason why they stopped working with Ethereum for payments and transactions was because the fees were too high. The main challenge they occurred when they were using Ethereum as their partner for everyday payments, for people to use as everyday payments. The main issue with Ethereum was fees. Now, Immersive, which previously, I'll tell you what I thought of. Immersive, which previously worked with Ethereum, faced challenges with high transaction cost and delayed settlements. No wonder. In contrast, Algorand's technology provides near zero cost transactions and instant finality in eliminating these issues. Now, enhancing user experience. The integration aims to enhance the user's experience by allowing instant settlements when users tap their cards for purchases. Woods noted that on Ethereum, transactions settle once daily due to high costs, introducing a risk of users attempt to, reverse the transaction. Algorand's instant, essentially, payments addresses this risk, providing immediate settlements and reducing potential losses for businesses. Development and testing. The collaboration between Immersive and Algorand involves significant contributions from Algorand's R&D and developers relation teams. These teams provided the necessary support to integrate the MasterCard with Pera Wallet successfully. The project is currently in testing phase, with a press release expected by the end of the week. This integration marks a notable advancement for Algorand, showcasing its capabilities to support large-scale financial transactions effectively. As the testing progresses, more details will likely emerge, highlighting further innovation within the Algorand ecosystem. So, a very long time ago, I came out with this story as an explanation on payments, for example, and I basically said that imagine, I said this is why it's bad to use Ethereum for payments. And I said that, imagine going to a coffee shop in the future and you're using cryptocurrency bank cards. And I said the story is basically, I have an XRP bank card and my friend has an Ethereum bank card, for example. And we go to buy a cup of coffee, and the coffee is essentially, let's say $5 in this case. And I said, for example, the coffee is $5, and I pay using my XRP bank card, and for $5, which is what the cup of coffee costs. And my friend uses his Ethereum bank card, and he pays $50 because he's paying, or $25 because he's paying $20 in fees and $5 for the coffee. This is why I said Ethereum never made sense for payments in any sort of a way. And every time I heard the news that essentially companies are partnering up with Ethereum for payments, I said it's a terrible idea, and they'll realize later on. And it seems like one company, and I said this in 2023, it seems like, because it's just common sense at this point, that you can't use Ethereum for payment transactions. You never could, because I could use my MasterCard and essentially Visa card, and it's cheaper on fees. Why would I use Ethereum? Am I stupid to pay $20 in fees or $50 in fees for an item that's $5? So it never made sense to use Ethereum for payment transactions in the first place. I don't know what companies were thinking of partnering with Ethereum. But it seems like one company has decided to grow some brain cells and realized, well, it was a very bad idea and a terrible idea to partner with Ethereum for payment cards on MasterCard, because the transactions were incredibly high for customers and the payments were incredibly slow to process. So they dropped Ethereum as a partner and went with Algorand, because it never made sense. Honestly, Ethereum's not good for payments. And more companies will essentially realize that along the way. The companies that are all partnered with Ethereum for payments will realize that. The people that are using Ethereum later on for payments will also realize that, if they haven't by now. Because I don't get this obsession where people just go, oh no, it's great for Ethereum, for payments and so on. In reality, it isn't. You must be an absolute moron if you're willing to pay an extra $20 or an extra $50 or an extra $100, depending on the congestion of Ethereum, when you can just get the item for the actual price itself. Why would you pay extra? Because you could just use XRP. Pay, if the item is $20, you pay $20. Why use Ethereum and pay $150 on fees for a $20 item? It's crazy. Now, and this company realized it. and they dropped Ethereum completely. Miles, you have been saying for a very long time for that part 2, we will need a giant kahunas. I'm not going to lie to you right now, my giant kahunas are turning into little raisins. Mine's getting smaller by the day. Well, I did say the giant kahunas, and I've been saying it for past 4 or 5 months that part 2 is brewing, and it is. Part 2 is brewing. We have more regulations, more banks, and the MICA regulations have been inputted. We have massive brokerage firms coming into the wind. We have essentially Morgan Stanley opening their doors. We have crypto platforms launching essentially their own institutional grade platforms now as well. So part 2 is pretty much in motion. I transferred, that's why I need giant kahunas. I transferred 23 pounds to MEXC through ETH, and they deducted 10 pounds. I received 13 pounds of USDT. Yep. You see how ridiculous is essentially Ethereum is sometimes? Now, Genesis. Just like Mt. Gox is doing refunds, Genesis is also doing refunds as well. Genesis transfers $1.5 billion, and I now have the numbers, which I didn't have before. And I said, once the numbers come out, I'm going to share it with everybody. So Genesis is not a crypto, essentially brokerage firm that's refunding people crypto assets, which nobody's talking about inside the crypto space right now at all. And so here it is. Genesis transfers $1.5 billion in crypto. How this could impact Ethereum prices. The crypto brokerage firm Genesis Trading has recently conducted some large value Bitcoin and Ethereum transactions in connection with its ongoing bankruptcy processes. The company transferred at least 32,256 Bitcoins, 32,256 Bitcoins, and 256,775 Ethereum, totaling to about $1.5 billion to various addresses. They're refunding now. The move is a part of the credit repayments exercise taking place since Genesis filed for bankruptcy in January 2023, back in January 2023. Now they're doing the repayments. These large transfers have aroused concerns in the market space, especially the effects on Ethereum's price, because a lot of Ethereum is being refunded. So ETH ETF inflows and Grayscale outflows, a mixed market sentiment, the situation on there going on as well. And while Genesis asset liquidation has put pressure on the market, Ethereum ETFs have shown resilience with continued net inflows. Data from Farsight Investment indicates that Ethereum ETFs recorded a net inflow of $26.7 million, marking the second time this week as well. Firstly, for the first time since its inception, BlackRock's iShares Ethereum ETF experienced more inflows than assets than outflows from Grayscale's Ethereum as well trustee. Now, this is a sign that investors' attention on Ethereum has related ETFs is improving on the contrary to the current market conditions. And what they're referring to is Genesis refunding 200,000 plus Ethereum to multiple users. On the other side, the Ethereum ETF for essentially Bitcoin for BlackRock is doing incredibly well. The currently stabilizing rate of outflows from Grayscale's Ethereum Trust suggests that there could be some signs of stabilization. However, the full potential of these ETFs on Ethereum remains to be seen, particularly given that there are many more market adjustments that are yet to be experienced. Market headwinds, technical analysis, the broader crypto market is essentially exposing a few risks that could lead to a bearish outlook. Firstly, is the upcoming repayment of BTC by Mt. Gox, which I just revealed. These developments could have impact Ethereum as it finds a ground that could essentially be important for its overall support level. Ethereum's price has been under pressure, recently dropping 5.94% to around 2,976 in terms of price points. This decline triggered approximately $76.43 million in liquidations over the past 24 hours, highlighting the volatility inside the market space. Technical analysis suggests that Ethereum may attempt to form a W-shaped recovery if it can hold the support level between $3,175 to $2,923. However, failure to maintain this support could result in further downtrend moments. So, bit of a situation going on right now. Empty Gox is, reaching slowly their endings of refunding people, but but Genesis has started refunding as well. Mostly just Bitcoin and Ethereum is what they're essentially rolling out to people. Other assets shouldn't, essentially go into some sort of stages of on massive downhills in any sort of way. But you know how panic works. Fear and panic do wonders inside the market space. A lot of people fall for that old trick. Never gets old. But Genesis is also refunding $1.5 billion is in the process to be refunded, has been sent to various wallets. We don't know which wallets it is. It could be exchange wallets as well on that basis. We don't know how much to each individual wallet has been transferred. Probably later on, Arkham Intelligence will figure out, how much has been refunded to which wallet. Is it exchange wallets or is it, company wallets, for example? Are they going to be dumping on later on Ethereum? Because there's quite a lot of Ethereum that's been refunded. But also Genesis has to refund roughly about 4 billion, 3 to 4 billion. So that's only 1.5 as well, just to put in perspective. Now, also they're refunding cash as well. So 1.5 billion so far we figured out is cryptocurrencies. So the rest of the billions could be cash repayments, which is a positive sign, because if people get refunded in cash, that means they're going to run towards the market and buy basically when the market's low. If people get a refund in cryptocurrencies, they must be stupid to refund, essentially to sell their assets in a bearish situation. The worst thing you can do, obviously not financial advice in any sort of a way, just my own personal preference and for entertainment purposes only, but the worst thing you could do is sell when the market is bleeding. Only morons sell when the market is bleeding. Always remember that. If you're not the wolf inside the market space, in any sort of market space, crypto market space, stock markets, in life in general, if you're not the wolf inside the market space, then you're the sheep inside the market space. And the only people that are selling are the sheep right now. You don't sell when the market's bleeding in any sort of way. So if any of those people get a refund in Ethereum and Bitcoin, decide to sell, what absolute morons. But the people who get cash refunds, they could buy, it could be a positive. They will be the intelligent ones in this equation. Now, UAE is the next news we're going to be talking about on this live show. The UAE is doing a massive Abu Dhabi blockchain center, something that's going to be staying there inside the United Arab Emirates. A massive blockchain center, not like an event that's going to come and go, but something that's just going to stay there, which is quite impressive. Now, before we go through that news, let's go to the comment section first. Let's see what questions we have. I transferred 500 pounds of BTC to my cousin in Pakistan 6 months ago, and he still hasn't received it yet. Lol. all the craziness at the Olympics. Yes, there's a lot of craziness going on around the world in general, and the Olympics as well. Yes. What up, Miles and CMF? Hope all is well though. Ray, good to see you. How you doing, brother? How you been? So UAE. United Arab Emirates rolls out the Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center. Abu Dhabi has officially unveiled its highly anticipated Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center, a landmark initiative aimed at driving blockchain innovation and establishing the city as a global hub for the technology. The center is designed to foster a thriving ecosystem for startups, enterprises, and academic institutions, providing a platform for the latest advancements in blockchain technology. With a strong focus on education and collaboration and investment, the Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center is poised to become a pivotal player in the industry. Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center connecting industry leaders. The Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center is set to host the top global events and workshops, providing a unique platform for industry leaders to connect, collaborate, and showcase their innovations as well. According to a recent report by the Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Developments, these events will be instrumental in positioning Abu Dhabi as a leader in blockchain technology. The center will serve as a launchpad for the latest blockchain applications, offering unparalleled opportunities for networking and knowledge sharing. The Al Dahir CEO of Blockchain Center emphasized the importance of these events in fostering innovation. He said, "We are thrilled to launch the Blockchain Center in Abu Dhabi. Our vision is to create a global hub for blockchain innovation, education, and collaboration right here in Abu Dhabi." So, I mean, I'll be honest, Amazing. What the UAE is doing, they're definitely establishing themselves as a digital hub. Without a doubt, especially with this whole new blockchain center they've created, where you can go there and network with people 24/7 about blockchain technology, and you can share ideas and whatever platforms you have. But for educational purposes as well, or to just make business connects and make some sales happen. Educational programs enhance knowledge, skills, and more. Facts. One of the core missions of Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center is to advance blockchain knowledge and skills through cutting edge educational programs. These programs are designed to equip individuals with the expertise needed to excel in rapidly evolving blockchain industries. The center will offer a range of courses and training sessions covering everything from the basics of blockchain technology to advanced applications and developments. In addition to formal education, the center will provide hands-on human resource training to ensure a continuous pipeline of talent. This comprehensive approach aims to address the growing demand for skilled professionals inside the blockchain sector, positioning Abu Dhabi as a leading destination for blockchain education and career developments. Venture capital Web3 startups. A key feature of the Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center is its venture capital arm, which will support and invest in Web3 startups. This initiative is designed to provide much needed funding and resources to promising blockchain projects, helping them to scale and succeed in the competitive market space. By fostering innovation and supporting entrepreneurship, the center aims to drive the growth of blockchain ecosystems in Abu Dhabi. The venture capital arm will focus on identifying and nurturing high potential startups, providing them with the financial backing and street guidance needed to thrive. This development or this investment strategy is aligned with Abu Dhabi's broader economic development goals, which includes diversifying the economic and positioning the city as a hub for technological innovation. And here's the final takeaway: the unveiling of the Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center marks a significant milestone inside the city. The city's journey to becoming a global leader in blockchain technology, with its focus on hosting global events, back-to-back hosting of global events, providing cutting-edge education, and supporting Web3 startups through venture capital investments. The center is set to drive innovation and growth inside the blockchain sector. As the industry continues to evolve, the Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center will play a crucial role in shaping the future of blockchain technology and establishing Abu Dhabi as a key player on the global stage. By fostering a collaborative and innovative ecosystem, the center will not only advance blockchain knowledge and skills, but also create new opportunities for startups and enterprises. The ambitious vision of Abu Dhabi Blockchain Center reflects the city's commitment to embracing technological advancements and driving economic growth through innovation. That is absolutely massive coming out of Abu Dhabi, coming out of the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. What they're doing and what they've achieved is absolutely incredible. Creating a one massive blockchain center and their CEO coming out making a big speech. This is the place to be if you're in blockchain, if you want to learn about blockchain, if you want to do networking blockchain, or if you even want to get funding for blockchain, if you have crypto ideas or you want to set up your own crypto business or platform, this is the best place to be to get funding, to connect with people around the world. And also, if you're beginning inside the crypto space, you can go to the blockchain sector, the blockchain center inside of Abu Dhabi, and learn about blockchain. What they're doing for their own people is absolutely incredible. It's something that should be implemented worldwide. In my opinion, we should have a blockchain center in the US, in the UK, in Canada, in Australia. We should have that, something like that going on, where people could go and connect on blockchain 24/7. People could go and learn about blockchain as well. So on that basis, what they've achieved is absolutely amazing. Honestly, they are definitely aiming to become a crypto hub, and what they've just achieved now is definitely a milestone. They're definitely pretty much there to get to a stage they need to be. So amazing job, absolutely amazing job. So far on the race, it's Abu Dhabi. Essentially, so far on the race, the UAE and Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, and London. The country that's leading the race, in my opinion, first is essentially the UAE now, and then it's Hong Kong, and then it's Tokyo, and then it's Singapore, and London's pretty much last. I don't even know why London even bothered to mention that they want to become a crypto hub, because nothing has came out of London. Not a single peep of blockchain innovation has came out of London. So I don't even know why London mentioned they want to become a crypto hub, because where, how is the main question. Because you've achieved nothing. London, I mean, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority doesn't even like the idea of ETFs. They've just opened up to the idea of ETNs and ETPs. We haven't even got to ETFs, never mind making a blockchain center or someone becoming a crypto hub. But definitely the UAE has taken the lead with what they've just opened up right now, massive blockchain center, teaching their own people, doing and the networking for their own people, giving the funding to their own people for blockchain innovation. So what they've achieved is absolutely astonishing. And they are definitely the number one in the upcoming race, without a doubt. But yeah, London should just drop out of the race and save themselves an embarrassment. Honestly, the UK should just drop out of the race, you know, becoming a crypto hub. How are you planning on becoming a crypto hub? We don't even have ETFs, because we're not allowed to have ETFs, because the Financial Conduct Authority doesn't like the idea of ETFs. And, you know, they're aiming to become a crypto hub. It'd be an absolute miracle if London became a crypto hub. Genuinely. Now, Argentina is the next news we're going to be talking about tonight's live show. Argentina has set to adapt. Argentina has created essentially a new model in terms of artificial intelligence, where they're going to be using artificial intelligence for essentially on the basis of preventing crime, is what they're saying. So Argentina government and police force are going to be using artificial intelligence to prevent crime before it happens with AI. Now, this might seem like something from the movies, like, you know, iRobot or Terminator, you know, where they're using artificial intelligence technology or robots to prevent crime before it happens, but it's something they're looking into in Argentina right now. And before we go through that, let's consider the conversation first. Seems strange, London sending mixed signals for sure, bizarre, very bizarre. Ray Lescott, because in London we have morons as leaders, people like Nigel Farage dividing us people up. We are a joke on the world stage. I agree, absolutely. Now, Argentina set to just a print. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm not going to mention that, but Argentina set. Apologies. Argentina set to adopt AI to prevent future crimes aimed security concerns. The Argentinian Ministry of Security has announced the creation of the Applied Artificial Intelligence for Security Unit. They're calling it the UIAAS. The project is said to be directed by the Cybercrime and Cyber Affairs, along with members from the federal police and security forces. Argentina's AI units to target cyber threats and enhance security measures. The crimes of interest for the UIAAS will range widely. A major focus is identifying potential cyber threats by detecting unusual patterns in computer networks, including malware, phishing, and other types of cyber attacks. It will also handle complicated tasks such as X something. I can't say the word on live, but you know, when you throw something and it just goes X something, disposals and attempt to improve the communication speed with essentially the communication speed between the police force and the relative security teams using artificial intelligence. Monitoring social media activity was also mentioned as method to detect any signs of communication about potential future crimes. So this new AI feature that Argentina is going to be introducing is most likely going to have access to your messages somehow. It's going to have access to your networks. They said it's going to have access to networks and so on. So it's going to have access to your networks, your computer networks, your phone networks, and so on. And Argentina's AI technology will be able to find out if somebody somewhere in Argentina is about to commit a crime through what they type and say, and they'll be able to prevent it from happening using this artificial intelligence. Now, some people are coming out to say this is a big privacy issue. But then some people might look at it from another perspective and say, well, they can stop it, so they can stop major things from happening before it happens. So they have both sides of the argument going on right now. And I'll ask you the question at the end of, do you think this is a good idea or not? Monitoring social media activity was also mentioned as a method to detect any signs of communication about potential future crimes. So this artificial intelligence, has access to social media as well, and seeing your message, not the network situation, they can see your message and so on, but they can also, regarding social media as well, and find out if something is about to be planned and stopped before it happens. Some have taken to social media to essentially raise their doubts that it may not be beneficial in the long run. A well-known American software engineer by the name of Grady Bush claimed it will not end well to his followers on X. He said that what Argentina is introducing is basically spyware on their citizens. And he said essentially the global AI scrutiny, US investigations, and UN resolutions highlights concerns. So this has happened when the United States government is investigating OpenAI to gain more insights into safety standards. So the United States government is trying to do something similar. The United States government essentially said to OpenAI, and I revealed it on the slideshow as well, where the US government said to OpenAI, they want to have access to OpenAI, and they want to have access to new features, new OpenAI and ChatGPT features before any other citizen gets the new version of ChatGPT. The US government wants that platform, they want to test with it, and then they want to release it to the public. So it's not just Argentina that's trying to roam around in your phones and your social media messages and so on. The U.S. government suggested this to OpenAI as well. And on July 23rd, for example, Senate Democrats and one independent lawmaker sent a letter to OpenAI, Sam Altman's CEO, concerning the company's safety standards, and said that the U.S. government wants to have access to OpenAI at all times. And in the letter sent, item 9 clearly read, will OpenAI commit to making its next foundation models available to the US government agencies for pre-deployment testing, review, analysis, and assessment? So the US government tests the new OpenAI and ChatGPT update before it's released to the public. Now, by test, they mean they're going to obviously play around with the code and put their own code inside of it and then release it as an update to everybody's phones that has ChatGPT, making it the most important information. So which means if you have the new iPhone coming out, the iOS 18 update, or the new iPhone coming out where it has ChatGPT as a feature, basically, if you press allow, because iPhone has this new feature where you have to allow it for ChatGPT to have access to you. Once you just allow it once, the US government, if the US government is granted this, which they will be, because if OpenAI rejects or ChatGPT rejects the US government, then they won't be able to operate in the US, just how things work. If you don't work with the government will just, shadow ban you. You know how social media platforms will shadow ban, people? Well, the government can shadow ban an entire company if they wanted to. So, meanwhile, the United Nations General Assembly recently endorsed, especially if it's an American company, much more easier. Meanwhile, the United Nations General Assembly recently endorsed a resolution around AI. And if you think for a second that the US government can't, take over a company, that's illegal for any government to just come and take over any company. Well, look at Binance. Binance is the biggest crypto exchange on this planet. They were making ridiculous money on fees. And then every government in the world wanted to work with Binance. And then the US decides to sue Binance. And then, essentially got rid of their CEO, fined it for $4 billion, and injected it with 12 US department governments that are now working with Binance, hand in hand. They replaced the CEO of Binance with a World Economic Forum member, replaced the CEO of Binance US with a World Economic Forum member, and completely took over the company. It's very easy to shadow ban an entire company. So the resolution, initiated by the United States and backed by 123 countries as well, including China. Interesting enough, you know how the US and China were always against each other on the news, US versus China, China versus US, World War III potential, and so on and so on. I've always said they all sit at the same dinner table. Every country does, with the US trying to, get involved in your messages and essentially, get involved in your messages, your social media accounts, and have full access to what you do on a daily basis. 123 countries agreed that it's not a bad idea, not for the US, but for those countries to also be involved in having full access to your entire life. 123 countries agreed. Even China agreed with the US. Yes, not a bad idea. We should all have access to everybody 24/7. Was adapted and essentially encouraged regarding countries to safeguard humans' rights, protect personal data, and monitor AI for risk. So the governments, remember, the governments are doing this to protect your rights. You know, this is why they're doing it. They're infiltrating your rights to protect your rights from AI technology, because they think that AI is bad for you and that they should be in control of AI. And for them to be in control of AI, they should be in control of you to protect you from privacy. I don't know how that works. How does that even work? You're protecting me, you're protecting my human rights. You're protecting my human rights by having access to my human rights. How does that work? There's no common sense in the matter whatsoever. But you know, once again, they're introducing it as we're protecting you by having access to you on a 24/7 basis. Argentina's new AI unit will also focus on detecting cyber threats and unusual network patterns to prevent potential crimes. And how they can obviously detect potential crimes happening is because they will have access to your messages, to your phone calls, pretty much 24/7, and it's AI technology that's doing it. So they can essentially prevent a potential crime before it happens, because they know it's about to happen, because they have full access to you, everyone. The AI system aims to enhance communication between security forces, and the AI technology obviously has full access to the police department and to any of the US or to any of the government department in that jurisdiction. 123 countries. The initiative has raised concerns, with people questioning the long-term impact and effectiveness of AI in crime prevention. So, what is your thoughts about this? But also going back to Section 702, which was implemented in the US government very long when the Bitcoin halving was happening, exactly when the Bitcoin halving was happening, Section 702 was passed as well, where every single tech company inside the US becomes a spyware company. So that's why they're getting access to OpenAI and ChatGPT. But they're saying, you know, AI is too dangerous for you to use it, so we should be looking after you by having access to you when you use AI. If AI is too dangerous, then don't introduce it. But what's your thoughts? Do you think it's a good idea that governments think about it before you answer? Genuinely think about it. Do you think it's a good idea that governments use AI technology to find out what you're doing 24/7 by using AI technology, and then they can prevent crime before it happens? Do you think it's a good idea? Some people will argue and say, you know, I need my privacy, that's wrong to do, and so on. But then some people will also argue that, you know, if I have nothing to hide, why would that matter? I would say my personal preference at the end. I want to know your opinion first. What do you think about the idea of 123 countries all agreeing with each other? 123 countries all agreeing with each other. Argentina being the first one to implement this. That we should have full access to your devices 24/7, on your messages, on your social media messages, so on, for only on the basis to prevent crime. What's your answer? Do you think it's a good idea? Yes. Do you think it's a bad idea? No. And the two arguments there's a third argument, but I'm not going to reveal it. That's my personal preference. But there's two arguments. One is people are saying it's bad for privacy. The other group is saying, you know, if you got nothing to hide, what's wrong with that? They can stop crime before it happens. So there's two arguments, but there's a third one, which I'm not going to say it, but I just want to know if you know. Well, let me see your personal preferences on this matter as well. So Denise put no. Also, thought the police actually the movie Minority Report was about preventing crimes before it happened. Interesting. Next will be USDT, but I think this might be a good thing. Your thoughts, please, Miles. Regarding USDT, I'll tell you. After this, I'll tell you we're going to USDT. More devices we use, more doors we open for them to enter. Facts, what Funky Brother said. Denise said no. Dennis says no. Funky Brother says, I think it's a brilliant idea. We should just get fully naked for 23 countries. I mean, only Sack would say something like that. I mean, Sack is giving up the best personal preference I've ever seen. I think it's a brilliant. I wasn't expecting that. I think it's a brilliant idea. We should just get fully naked in front of 123 countries. G said bad idea. Joe says no. There are other ways of fighting crime in this day and age, and there is no need to all of the ins and outs of our private lives. These are all valid points, what Joe has said. Joe, valid point. Denise says no. Dennis says no. G says bad idea. Orphan says is more controlling, which is also valid as well. It is basically. Ian says, Miles, I don't think we should give up our personal information because they know who the bad people are totally. I agree with Ian as well. All genuine, valid, opinions. Free and Forever says bad idea as well. Brian says, first of all, your privacy has already been breached and many companies already track you, which is true, but they track you up to a certain extent. Secondly, the government does not need more control over their citizens. We already have cameras everywhere. Brian, all valid points. And JP comes with the best valid point so far, which is it doesn't matter. It's going to happen either way. Do you know why it's going to happen? Because it's related to CBDCs. It's related to social credit systems. I think this is all going towards CBDCs and credit score systems. Yes. Funky Brother, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yep. As I was saying, I think this is all going towards CBDCs and credit social systems. Yes. So do you know what this is? An indication of how close we are to CBDCs and social credit systems. Generally, an indication of how close we are to social credit systems and CBDCs. And so JP and Funky Brother and Brian, I mean, everyone made valid points, to be fairly honest. Everyone made valid points. But yeah, this is, as JP put it, doesn't matter. It's going to happen either way. And second, Funky Brother is saying, this is going towards CBDCs and social credit systems, basically. It's been planned for years as usual. Yes, facts. It has, Ian. Let's go. But yeah, that was the third perspective, which was it's going to happen either way. It's for CBDC, social credit systems. And what does that mean? It means that we are extremely close to CBDC lifestyles. And if we are extremely close to CBDC lifestyle, only one crypto project is going to benefit you in a CBDC lifestyle. XRP. Now, BlackRock. We will have no say. Yeah, we will have no say. Absolutely. Because it's going to get implemented either way. People are distracted anyways. Too many people are distracted. The reason why this world will never change in a very simple term is because we have more morons than intelligent people. It's just the truth. When you have more morons than intelligence, it's just what you get. You get a world that is in chaos all the time. You get a world that people are angry, people are hungry, people are greedy. People are wealthy, incredibly too much, which requires them more power. So when you have a very imbalanced world between morons and intelligent people, where the intelligent people is a handful compared to the amount of morons, you get a very bad world, which is what we're living in, which is a shame because we live in a very beautiful world. But it can't be seen. There's too many morons and too many greedy people, which control the morons. Now, BlackRock. BlackRock pays over $2 million in dividends in July. Now, if you went for BlackRock as a tokenization fund, they will pay out dividends to the people that are holding their tokenization fund. So they've paid out quite a bit so far. $2 million they've paid out in dividends. BlackRock's USD institutional digital liquidity build fund paid over $2 million in dividends in July, essentially marking a record monthly payment According to EtherScan data, BlackRock distributed $2.12 million to investors in July, a 16% increase from June. The fund has paid over $7 million in dividends since the launch, with yields increasing every month. So what's happening in the real-world asset space so far? BlackRock's first tokenization fund, Build, was launched in the Ethereum ecosystem in March. According to EtherScan data, it has since reached a market value of approximately $522 million, quickly surpassing established funds like Franklin Templeton's Franklin On-Chain US Government Money Fund. They're calling it Benji. According to the Dilute, Builds an increasing dividend yields indicate a growing preference among institutional investors for tokenized money funds. These funds offer enhanced liquidity, accessibility, and efficiency compared to traditional funds. DeFi protocols like Ondo are also using Build for futures products as well, which they are. I revealed that a very long time ago about Ondo. The tokenized US Treasury market experienced significant growth in 2024. Real-world assets data shows that the total value of this essentially segment increased from $726 million to $1.88 billion this year. So far, tokenization funds, $1.88 billion is where we're standing. BlackRock's Build and Franklin Templeton's FOBXX contribute significantly, with market values of $522 million to about $414 million. Analysts predict that this growth will continue, with the market reaching $3 billion by the end of 2024. Demand from decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, and decentralized finance projects seeking stable, risk-free returns in the blockchain ecosystem is driving this growth. Consulting firm McKinsey and Company forecast that their tokenized financial markets could reach $2 trillion by 2030. Real-world asset tokenizations involves converting tangible assets like bonds, real estate, and debt into crypto assets on blockchain networks. The digital representation can be transferred within the DeFi ecosystems. Co-founder and CEO of Hamilton explained the potential new opportunities in real-world asset tokenization sector. He said, "We foresee tokenized assets bringing more transparency, liquidity, and accessibility to traditional financial markets. We believe enabling fractional ownership and 24/7 liquidity with the access to high-quality investment opportunities." Meanwhile, BlackRock continues to be the leading provider of spot Bitcoin ETF funds and spot Ethereum ETF funds as well. BlackRock's chief investment officer, Samara Cohen, stated earlier this week that it's unlikely that we will see more funds based on other cryptocurrencies soon. So those are the data points from BlackRock and their tokenization funds, is how much dividends they paid, and regarding the stabilization of the market space. So far, in the eyes of BlackRock and the eyes of few executives and co-founders and CEOs and directors of different companies, market space is not that bad, even though everybody said retail sections and panic mode and they don't know what to do. From BlackRock's perspective, not that bad inside the market space. They're actually doing quite well for themselves, and their tokenization fund is growing. Their ETFs might be having some outflows on the Bitcoin side, but they're having inflows on the Ethereum side, for example. So they're actually doing quite well for themselves. BlackRock is not, upset at any sort of way about the market movements right now. Now, if you want, on the topic of morons, if you wanted to know how many morons are on this planet, and do we have a lot of morons on this planet? The easiest way to tell is who's going to sign up for a CBDC wallet first. So a lot of people said, if the government's introduced CBDCs, who's going to get a CBDC wallet willingly? People were saying, if the government comes out with CBDCs, who's going to sign up for CBDC wallets willingly? How's that possible? How could you just go and sign up and, give up your entire life on a CBDC wallet? Well, apparently there's quite a lot of morons in this world. And so Thailand, obviously, that Thai party that said if you vote for them and, they give you 10,000 baht, about $286 in CBDCs. And also, a very long time ago, I said that, if people decide to go against CBDCs, the government will just throw free money at them and it will work like a charm. And I said, people will be holding colorful posters. If anybody remembers me saying these things, people will hold colorful posters. And I said, these people don't fear God. These politicians don't fear God any sort of a way. So they'll just look at your posters and, laugh at them. And I laugh at your slogans and so on, which is one of the favorite parts of Ray every time I say it. But a very long time ago, I said this. And I said that governments would just throw free money at people who go against CBDCs. And people will run up and sign up and do it because they don't know what CBDCs are. Most people don't. because this is an indication of, once they do roll out CBDCs in other countries, how will it go down? Will people reject CBDCs or run towards it? Well, Thailand's government released their digital wallet program, and the program crashed on the first day it was released. So Thailand's government released their CBDC wallets, their CBDC wallet program for everybody to sign up on the CBDC accounts in Thailand and receive their free money in CBDCs. And it crashed. The platform crashed on the first day. Now you might think, well, it was probably because it was badly designed. No, it was because so many people signed up for a CBDC wallet from the Thailand government that they weren't expecting that many people to sign up at the exact same time where the platform couldn't handle it. Thailand's digital wallet program portal crashes first day on the announcement day. So, ambitious Thailand digital wallet program encountered significant technical setbacks, according to retainers. And also, this is also an indication of, remember what I said a long time ago, that Ripple is doing an immense amount of task. And I said you can't compare Ripple in XRP to any other crypto project because what Ripple's trying to achieve is incredibly difficult, building a platform that can basically never crash. And I said other crypto projects out there, if their platform crashes, it's not a big deal. Because if a crypto project out there, for example, creates an application or a gaming application, so when a game crashes, the application crashes, not a big deal. Even for 5 hours, people could just, leave the app and come back in. But I said because Ripple's inside the payments field, they can never crash. And Ripple next up needs to be 1 billion% sure before they launch, because you can't have, the banks, centralized banks, not working for 5 hours or 6 hours or even 24 hours. So when I said what Ripple's trying to achieve, you can't compare Ripple or XRP to any other crypto asset out there. They have to be 1 billion% sure, not 100% sure before they launch, but 1 billion% sure. So things like this don't happen. Remember me saying this? That's an extensive task. But anyways, putting that to one side and putting the other one to the other side, which is if you're wondering how many morons are in this world, and when CBDCs get introduced, are people going to reject CBDCs or run towards it? Apparently run towards it. So on the first day that Thailand introduced their digital wallet program, encountered massive technical setbacks. According to retainers, the program designed to distribute 10,000 free Thailand baht, which is approximately $282 to eligible citizens, Thai citizens. So everybody signed up for a free $282 in CBDCs. The citizens of Thai was met with an overwhelming demand that crashed the online registration portal. The Thailand Digital Wallet Program portal struggled under the surge of applicants, leading to widespread frustration and disruption. Things that Ripple doesn't want to encounter. This is why they need to be 1 billion% sure before they launch. Technical issues on day one. The Thailand Digital Wallet Program was launched with high expectations, but the initial response revealed substantial flaws in its technical infrastructure. By early afternoon of the opening day, 10.5 million people had managed to complete their registration. However, a considerable number of applicants faced issues accessing the portal or receiving the necessary text message passcodes to finalize their applications. These technical difficulties have raised concerns about the system's ability to handle such a high volume of traffic, especially for a program of this scale. High demand outpaces system capacity. The massive interest in the Thailand Digital Wallet Program underscored the significant public demand for digital financial solutions. However, the system's inability to cope with this demand highlights the challenges of implementing large-scale digital projects, particularly those involving financial distribution to a significant portion of a country's population. So, again, going back to what I said, Ripple, XRP, they need to be 1 billion% sure before they launch with essentially centralized banks. Things like this cannot happen because massive disruption happened in Thailand. And Thailand's government essentially realized that things of this large digital scales, particularly those involving projects involving financial distributions to a significant portion of country's application population, they need to be 1 billion% sure before they launch a platform like this. The program's initial hiccups serve as a stark reminder of the complexities involved in rolling out major digital initiatives, which is again what Ripple's trying to achieve. The Prime Minister addressed the issues, acknowledging that technical problems are not uncommon on launch days. He reassured the public that the government is actively working to resolve these problems, underscoring their commitment to the program's success. The government's view, definitely the program had success. I mean, it had more users than it can handle. The government views the digital wallet initiative as a vital tool for economic growth and supporting citizens, particularly in the light of the current economic challenges, economic context, and government plans. Thailand's economy has been grappling with high levels of family debt and sluggish consumer spendings. In response, the government has launched the 500 billion baht, which is $14 billion, Thailand's digital wallet program, as a cornerstone of its economic revival strategy. By providing direct financial support to citizens, the program aims to boost local spending and support economic recoveries. The program is projected to contribute between 1.2 to 1.8% points to Thailand's economic growth in the coming year. The government of Thailand has basically given out 50 billion baht, which is about $14 billion of free money. But nothing's free in life, it's CBDC money. So $15 billion worth of CBDCs is being spread between Thailand citizens, whoever signs up for the CBDC wallet. And, they're seeing it as, they could boost this economy, people will be paid out and people are struggling. Thailand is a great idea is what they're saying. Yes, the people in Thailand might be struggling due to essentially the government being so extremely wealthy for themselves, buying expensive cars, having expensive luxury homes, and providing for their own families. But when it comes to their own people, they keep them hungry. And when you keep people hungry, they become desperate. And when people become desperate, they make bad choices. It's just, a basic cycle. When governments, essentially take away things from you. So governments will give you things, and then they'll take some away. And then the things that you do have, they'll make them expensive for you to keep them. So expensive that you would have to end up giving them away. And then somewhere down the line, the government will give that thing back to you, the thing that they took away from you. But there's always a catch. So obviously, keep the people hungry. And then when you keep them hungry enough, they'll make bad decisions. And, there's an indication of a bad decision. Implementation challenges and economic impact. The successful implementation of a Thailand digital wallet program faces several hurdles. The government must address the technical issues that have plunged the initial registration phase and ensure that the program operates smoothly going forward. The initiative, set to go live in 2 months, allows participants to spend their allocated funds at a variant of local businesses, from large shopping malls to small vendors. This broad range of spending options is designed to maximize the program's economic impact across different sectors of the Thai economy. Now, obviously, in the words of Thailand's government, this is a great idea because it's going to boost Thailand's economy, and the government of Thailand giving away $14 billion. $14 billion they're willing to give away, but only in CBDCs. And they say it's going to boost Thailand's economy. Why didn't the Thailand government help essentially their own people by just using fiat a very long time ago when their people were hungry and they needed it? Because it had no benefit for the Thailand government. It has no benefit for any government to give people, helping hands. They would rather take from people, make them more hungry. The government anticipates that approximately 45 million out of the 50 million eligible Thai residents will participate in Thailand's digital wallet program. 45 to 50 million people are going to be in right off the bat. I mean, they already got 10 million out of the bat, 10 million plus, signing up on the first day straight away. The high level of expected engagement underscores the potential impact of initiative on national economy. People, the thing is, the Thailand government is saying, this is absolutely amazing news that, people love the idea of CBDCs. No, people don't love the idea of CBDCs. Your people are desperate and hungry because you kept them desperate and hungry on purpose. And now you're giving them free money in CBDC so you can control them later on. So don't come out here, the Thailand government come out here and say, well, people love the idea of CBDCs. Look, no, they don't love the idea of CBDCs. They need money because you kept them struggling and hungry. Questions about the infrastructure and systems needed to support such massive financial distribution efforts. Now, debate and criticism. While the Thailand Digital Wallet Program has gathered support from many quarters, it has also faced criticism. Some economists and former central bank governors have expressed concerns about the program's physical implications and its long-term economic effects. These criticisms highlight the need for careful consideration of large-scale financial interventions and their potential consequences. Overcoming obstacles and future prospects. The introduction of the Thailand Digital Wallet Program marks a significant step towards enhancing economic growth and providing support during a challenging time. Despite the initial technical difficulties, the program's ambitious scope and potential benefits remain promising. The government's ability to address the technical problems swiftly and effectively will be crucial to the program's success. As the program moves forward, it will be important for the government to maintain transparency and communication with the public while working to resolve the initial issues. Ensuring a smooth rollout and maximizing the economic benefits of the program will be key to its long-term success. The Thailand Digital Wallet Program represents a bold experiment in digital financial distribution and economic essential simulations. This progress will be closely watched by the economists. Lawmakers and governments worldwide are also watching this. Not just the Thailand government is watching the progress, but worldwide governments are also now looking at Thailand and seeing how the progress is going there, because CBDCs are coming worldwide. As Thailand navigates the challenges of this pioneering initiative, it may set a precedent for similar digital financial schemes in other countries. You can bet my life that there are going to be similar situations in every other country. The exact same thing that was implemented in Thailand is going to be implemented everywhere else as well, on the similar basis. For ongoing updates and insights into developments in the financial and crypto world. So, Thailand's government has finally introduced their CBDC wallet that they were talking about for a very long time. They got more people than they expected signing up for the wallet, and they said it's a success for CBDCs. In reality, it was because the Thailand people are hungry, and the Thailand government kept them hungry and struggling. And when you keep people hungry and struggling, they end up doing bad decisions. And when you're giving them, free money, they don't see, CBDCs. Most people in Thailand probably wouldn't even know, on the people that signed up, they wouldn't even know what a CBDC is, but they just see it as free money that could help and, for their own families, which I understand. Everybody needs a little push sometimes, especially if they want to feed their families. I fully understand this. But the idea of them coming out and saying it's a success for CBDC is not really. It's just these people are hungry, and anything will do for them. And the reason why they're hungry and struggling is because you kept them hungry and struggling. If you really wanted to help your people and give out $14 billion of your own money, you could have given out that money a very long time ago when those people needed it, but you didn't. Instead, you kept that money for yourself and, chipped off even more money off people that really needed money, and then roll out CBDCs to control them with the money that they needed. Just one big absolute manipulation. But here's the thing. Things that we learned from this. Once they do release, so step number one, once they do release CBDCs in other countries, we have an indication of how many people will be essentially signing up. A lot, by the looks of it. Something that I said a long time ago as well is that governments will just give free money away, even if you protest against CBDCs. And most people who are protesting probably against CBDCs in the future don't even know what CBDCs are, so they'll just see it again like free money. So something that I said a long time. But once they do release CBDC wallets in other jurisdictions, we have an indication of how well it's going to go. Extremely well, because a lot of people right now are struggling around the world. Even in countries like the UK, people are not doing too well. Even in countries like Germany, Austria, the EU, so there's a lot of people in the EU aren't living wealthy lifestyles. There's a lot of people in the UK that aren't living wealthy lifestyles, or Canada, or Australia, or the US. So when they do release CBDC wallets, even in these G20 powerful countries, trust me, people will still sign up because they don't see CBDCs. They see $200 or $300 or $500 or $1,000. They don't see CBDCs. So when they do implement CBDCs, a lot of people are going to sign up. We just have a first indication of Thailand. The program crashed for the amount of people that signed up for CBDC wallets. Two, what we learned is that Again, what I said a very long time ago, that platforms like Ripple and XRP, they can't be compared to any other crypto project out there. And that Ripple has to be 1 billion% sure before they launch it. So things like this don't happen because people were very angry, even though it was CBDC money, but people were angry. So that's what we learned as well. And 3, if you don't want to be trapped in CBDCs and you want to benefit from CBDCs, XRP is your only choice. And 4, whether you like it or not, CBDCs are happening. But, they kept people hungry. And when people are hungry, they make bad choices. And a bad choice is CBDCs. But here's the benefit. If you're on XRP, you can benefit from these people that are on CBDCs. As bad as it may sound, that's just how the world works. Let's see where we were. And what's your opinions right now on the Thailand CBDC situation? Share the program live. I did it on X and again on YouTube. Thank you so much, Scott, for sharing the program. It was probably running on Solana. Thailand's government. Thailand's government, they haven't mentioned they're running on XRP. They haven't mentioned they even have a partnership with Ripple at all. So they're definitely not working with Ripple and Thailand's government, which is a good thing because that's a bad situation for Thailand. But that was just their wallet. That wasn't their currency. It was just their wallet that crashed. Nobody's received the currency yet. That was just a sign up for the wallet and it crashed. So we don't know if the currency is with, most likely it is. The currency is most likely going to be on XRP. On the XRP ledger essentially, because Thailand's a part of the Bank of International Settlements. The wallet itself was designed by a third party. So that was just a wallet. It wasn't the currency itself. They haven't even distributed the money yet. That was just the sign up. I think this is all going, it's been, we were here. I was chatting to some business owners from Thailand over the weekend and they had no idea about CBDCs. They haven't even heard of it. Well, there you go. There's an indication right there. Genuinely, a lot of people don't know about CBDCs. Education is absolutely key, the more intelligent you are, the better understanding you have of manipulation and how the world works. It's absolutely key. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't care about, CBDCs. A lot of people don't care about cryptocurrencies. And those people will get left behind, which a long time ago I said, that's a shame. People will get left behind. But I fully understand why they will get left behind now. Because they're stubborn. Some people are just stubborn and lazy. And they don't want to learn about what's about to happen next. And some people just don't believe it. Because, there are people out there that don't believe that crypto is, still, till this day, 2024, we're in 2024. And, basically mid-2024. And there were still people in this world that don't believe CBDCs are going to happen, social credit systems are going to happen, and they don't even believe crypto is here to stay. And then you have people who are just stubborn and they don't want to, learn about cryptocurrencies, and they think everybody who's in crypto is a conspiracy theorist. And then there are people that are just lazy. Those groups of people will just be left behind. And once they realize their mistakes, it's going to be way too late. All governments control their people. Some are more severe than others, Miles, which is facts, Ian. Absolutely facts. Call them morons, Miles. They basically are. People who call, people who call people who are inside crypto conspiracy theorists, they're morons. If you think, somebody that's in crypto is a conspiracy theory, you're a moron. If you think, if you're stubborn and you don't want to learn about crypto, then you're a moron as well, because you're rejecting education. If you reject education, especially when it involves money, then you're definitely a moron. And also people who are just lazy. That one's just, you can't even call that one moron. They're just lazy. But the other two, the groups of people that are stubborn, or the groups of people that call other people conspiracy theories, they're genuinely morons. The lazy person is just lazy. There's no way around it. Because they're pretty much lazy in everything in life. So Just add one. Just add another one to the list for the lazy person. All governments control their people more than, yep, absolute facts. What Ian just said is all governments control their people. Some are more severe than others. Miles, it's about to become same control for worldwide basic don't CBD social creditors. Trust me, there's a lot of things that have crashed in Thailand. I'm not surprised. Great show tonight, Miles. You are the greatest. Scott, thanks so much for the kind words. Even here in Canada, people around me, nobody knows about CBDCs. It's absolutely crazy. Call them morons, Miles. I am blessed to be a part of this family. Scott, thanks so much for the kind words. Miles, thanks for being a virtual friend and a mentor. Scott, genuinely, thanks so much for the kind words. Now, Web3. Web3 basically data. To become Saudi Arabia's new oil. A very, very, very long time ago, I said that essentially in 2023, data is the new oil. I said this in 2023, I said this in 2024, and Saudi Arabia has realized this. And, you know, Saudi Arabia's new oil is basically Web3 data, as it dominates the industry. This is Saudi Arabia, big oil country. And they're saying basically Web3 data is the new oil. Adverse just dropped. Adverse Jenny just dropped its first ever State of Web3 in Saudi Arabia report, and has positioned Saudi as the next big thing for Web3 entrepreneurs, investors, and talent from all around the world. Saudi's digital playground. Saudi Arabia is becoming a hotspot for Web3, and there are some solid reasons for it. For starters, 63% of the population is under 30, which is great, I'll be honest, and nearly everyone is online. The government's backings Web3 with friendly regulations, and there's plenty of money flowing in. In the first quarter of 2024, startups in the Middle East and North America MENA region pulled in $429 million from 163 deals. Saudi Arabia's startups grabbed 51% out of that cash. The gaming industry is also booming in Saudi Arabia, with $1.8 billion right now, expected to hit $6 billion by 2027. Fintech is also picking up steam with market size of $746 million. E-commerce is massive too, pulling in $10 billion in 2023 with $34.5 billion in Saudis shopping online. Adverse thinks that this sector will grow at 13.5% annual rate until 2027. And don't forget about the PropTechs, which is valued at around $763 million and is a key to the country's vision of 23 economic goals. 2030. Saudi versus UAE, the Web3 race. The Middle East has long been making big moves in Web3. The UAE, for instance, has set up digital asset regulators like the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority in Dubai and the Abu Dhabi Global Markets in Abu Dhabi. Last year, the ADGM's Hub 71 rolled out $2 billion initiatives in support to Web3 startups. Thanks to its crypto-friendly, essentially, policies, the UAE has become a hotbed for crypto and blockchain projects. Now, Saudi Arabia is stepping up to show it can be a major player in Web3 too. Outliner Ventures, based in the UK, is launching a Web3 accelerator program in partnership with Saudi's National Technology Development Program. CEO Stefan essentially said that the level of dedication, education, and international experience of highly skilled workforce, as well as the people coming to the kingdom, is very interesting to see. He pointed out that the fast development and huge potential of Saudi's Web3 ecosystem, Saudi Arabia's $95 billion public investment fund, PIF, has been busy too. They've reportedly been in talks with essentially A16Z, one of the leading VC firms backing Web3 startups. Aminico Brands has teamed up with King City as well for science and technology and to boost the gaming industry ecosystem city. Golden Gate Ventures is also expecting to, open up its offices in the Gulf region, seeking Saudi Arabia as the next big frontier. So, Saudi Arabia, big, massive oil country. Okay, Saudi Arabia, massive oil country. They came out and basically said that the next thing in line is Web3 data. that is going to be more valuable than oil. It feels nice to be repeated on things you said. I said on things that you say. It's nice to be repeated on things that you say 6 months before everybody else, especially when it's high-profile people, or in some cases, countries, stating what you said, what you say about 6 months, 7 months after you. Perfect timing, Miles. My hubby is listening in the background while I'm laughing about you calling these stubborn people morons. So funny. Let's go, Shelly. Will the Fed make... Most people here I speak to here in the UK say it will never happen. CBDCs never have no chance. Honestly, there's too many morons in this world. Now, the Fed. Will the Fed, which is, what's going on right now inside the crypto space, is all related. The stock market, the crypto space, it's all related to the Fed. Will the Fed make a hard landing after the latest employment report, expert including former Fed governors' opinions? The latest jobs report has left the Fed in a difficult position, potentially leading to a hard landing for the economy. Unexpected weakness in employment data has prompted the Fed to consider significant interest rate cuts in the coming months. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Wall Street Journal being so factual as always, major financial institutions, including Citi and JP Morgan, predict the Fed will implement a series of rate cuts, 50 basis points, and in September, another 50 basis points in November, and 25 basis points in December. CME data shows that the probability of 25 basis points cut in September as 78%, and the probability of 50 basis points cuts as 22%. JP Morgan predicts that the Fed will eventually reduce its benchmark interest rate to around 3%, and that the rate cuts will continue until the third quarter of 2025. This aggressive monetary expansion is seen as a necessary response to the worsening economic indicators. Throughout the year, Fed officials focused on ensuring a soft landing in which inflation is reduced without triggering a recession in the economy. Recent declines in inflation have raised questions about the sustainability of full employment. On the other hand, the potential economic decline also has potential consequences. It goes without saying that if the economy turns around, Kamala Harris is less likely to become president, said Macro, as an economist who advised President George W. Bush. The Fed's response in the coming months, basically, one expert has come out. It genuinely feels so nice to be repeated by countries, directors, CEOs, executives on things that you say. So one expert comes out and says essentially that if we do go into a crisis, if we do go into a recession, it doesn't make sense because the Kamala Harris administration or the Biden administration looks bad going into elections, going into a recession. And they said it's very bad for votes. So an expert comes out and says, if we go into a recession, makes zero sense because we're going into elections. Something that I said. The Fed's response in the coming months will be crucial in determining whether the current economic weakness is a temporary blip or the beginning of a more serious downtrend. Inflation is no longer a problem. The situation has completely changed, said Lawrence Mayer, the former Fed governor, said. So there we go. That's a perspective from experts and essentially some governors and some congressmen and so on, and regarding their opinions on the Fed reports and JP Morgan's opinion and Citibank's opinion as well on the Fed reports. Do they see it as a recession happening? No, they don't see it as a recession happening. They say it as, there's an outcome of a very bad situation, but then there's also one expert who's come out and essentially said, who is also an economist, who's an advisor to the George Bush president as well. He's an advisor to that person, and he's even came out and said he doesn't think we're going into a recession either, because we're going into voting season, and it makes the Kamala Harris situation and Biden administration look bad going into elections whilst being in a recession. So even the George Bush advisor says that no recession, absolutely no recession is on the way. We can have a hard landing type of situation, but forget about a recession. It's never going to happen. So, good night, Miles, and to all the CMF, great live as always. And you said last year, data is oil. JP, let's go. See you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. The Wall Street Journal is like eating Domino's pizza garbage, lol. Let's go, JP. JP, see you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. Saudi have just found more oil and gas. Can't remember how much, but it's a lot. C3, good to see you. How you doing? But yeah, that's the opinions from the Feds. That's the opinions from how they see it as a perspective of where we're going. Are we going to go into a recession? The likelihood, no. Are we going to have some sort of a hard landing? Is what they're saying is a yes. And it goes back to what I said as well, that they'll make it look like we're going to go into a recession, but we're not. By making it look like we're going to a recession, they can have a hard landing. So we have also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. United Kingdom, a crazy place right now. Yes, the United Kingdom is a crazy place right now, which is bad generally. Everybody's distracted, is what I said. And also, C3, you joined right at the ending of this live show as well, because we just reached the endings of tonight's live show. We're good to see you, brother. And tune in a bit more earlier. But good to see you. So, on tonight's live show, if you tuned in late, we talked about the Fed reports and how the perspectives is so far. We talked about the UAE, talking about how essentially Web3 and data is more important than oil. Saudi Arabia saying it's more important than oil. And we talked about Thailand's government introducing their first ever CBDC digital wallet and how it crashed on the first day. We talked about BlackRock paying out dividends. We talked about Argentina essentially adapting AI technology to prevent future crimes from happening. We talked about Abu Dhabi introducing a blockchain center that's going to be staying there forever, pretty much, teaching people about blockchain education in their own country and so on, which they're bringing in massive aspects, and also remaining as a crypto hub. We also talked about Genesis on tonight's live show as well, on their repayment plans of $1.5 billion worth of cryptocurrencies being refunded, just Bitcoin and Ethereum. We talked about Algorand's Peril wallet partnering with MasterCard, and for MasterCard to be dropping Ethereum, or the Peril wallet to be dropping Ethereum. We talked about Galaxy Research's reports on Bitcoin on building process, and we talked about MT Gox in terms of refunding as well. Sorry, I have one more thing to say. Long, I don't understand people that would believe we are going into a recession coming up to election. Blows my mind. Facts. It blows my mind as well, JP, I'll be honest. How people think we're going to go into a recession whilst going into elections. United Kingdom is a crazy place. It says, Miles, I got a bounce. Good night, sir. CMF, stay safe and blessed all. Brian, see you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. We've also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. I'll catch up tomorrow. Let's go see treat. Miles, is this as bad as what I'm seeing in the UK at the moment, or turned up a notch on reliable news media? It's turned up a notch on reliable news media. It's definitely turned up a notch. Are you live on other channels? Yes, I'm live on at the exact same time though, so not different times, but at the exact same time every single night. I'm only live on YouTube and X at the exact same time. So one live show, one CMF live show per day only. Good night, Miles and family. Thanks for everything you do for us. Let's go everyone. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Sorry, I have one more. Yeah. And regarding that, honestly, I can't believe it either. Regarding elections and recession, makes no sense. Good night, Miles and CMF. Great news, Miles. Let's go. Thanks. Free forever. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Carol, see you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles and family. Great to be here. See you tomorrow. Ian, see you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. And thank you so much to Nian, as always, that puts a comment on the YouTube videos. And Shelly, thank you so much for putting comments on the replay YouTube videos as well. I saw your comments back to back. Thank you, Shelly. So if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching us on X, drop a retweet and a comment on the video if you want, outside the live show. And if you want, drop a comment on the YouTube videos as well, the replays. It generally does help with the algorithms to grow this family. And thanks so much to everybody that likes the live shows on YouTube and comments on the YouTube replay videos and inside the conversation. And thanks so much to everybody on X as well. Thank you. Thanks, Miles. Night and day to all CMF. Let's go. Shelly, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles. Thank you, brother. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow. Same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow.